Thank you for finding time for yourself. And I want you to begin by imagining you're chewing on a magic piece of bubble gum. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you begin to find comfort in the chair, I want you to breathe in and a deep breath out. And I wonder if you can imagine what colour bubblegum it is that you're chewing. Breathing in and deep breath out as you prepare to blow a giant bubble of gum. Ready? Blowing a fist-sized bubble of gum. As you get more and more relaxed. Breathing in. Deep breath out. And I'm curious if you can blow a bubble as large as the size of your face. Breathing in. Deep breath out. Ready? Blowing gum as large as your face. Perfect. Just as you are. And I don't want you to experience trance too quickly. Breathing in. Deep breath out. And because this is magic bubblegum, you're going to blow a bubble large enough that it surrounds your entire body. Breathing in. Deep breath out. Ready? Surrounding your whole body in safe bubblegum. And I wonder if you're aware of your chest, comfortably rising and falling. And once you've completely absorbed your talent for blowing giant bubbles, you can begin to close your eyes and relax. The muscles around the eyes, neck, face, eyebrows relax. Forehead relax. Lips relax. Shoulders relax in your safe bubble. And you can breathe in safety and breathe out a sigh for all the party poopers. And you can breathe in love and breathe out a sigh for all the party poopers. Because you're in a giant bubble of gum. And you can relax your tummy, legs, And I wonder if you would like to share this sensation of safety with others that you care about, expanding your bubble. Or expanding your bubble to wrap your entire country or the entire world. The solar system, the universe, in your bubble of safety. And you can begin to experience trance soon as you hear the sound of my voice. But you don't have to listen to the sound of my voice. Your unconscious mind will do something wonderful for you a little later on. And I'm not sure you're aware how wonderful you are. No one else has your wisdom, your life experience, your great sense of humor, and you always say the right thing at the right time. And no one knows what it's like to be you. The privilege of being you. And I'm sorry to hear that in the past you've been traumatized. And it revisits you every now and then. But it's got nothing to do with you. I want you to have the ability to outthink any problem. But most of society is not solution-oriented. They're problem-focused, not solution-focused. And as you're aware, our minds work with association. Have you ever known a person you didn't like with a particular name? And you meet someone with that name, and you can't help but notice your reaction. Or you've met people who say, I'm hopeless or I'm not good enough. And maybe you've thought to yourself, that's a pattern they're running. And we as adults have a tremendous ability to learn. The thing that children learn easier is just a myth. But where we can become stuck as adults is we reject and hold on to what we already know. And when we zone out, we generate cognitive bias. And what we know can change. Years ago, if you saw a chiropractor or a kinesiologist, you were considered pretty out there. where these days doctors will refer you to a chiropractor. And some people love to blame genetics and search for a genetic reason why people behave a certain way, or look for an alcohol gene to help alcoholics. But the theory of looking for an alcohol gene, that leaves out the entire Muslim world. So it can't be genetic. It must be a process. A process of values. A pattern of meaning. And you can literally watch Steve Andreas working with a woman on YouTube who explains she works in social work, but typically every 2 years she burns out. She explains she's very sensitive. She likes to use her intuition to pick up on her client's sensitivity. And so Steve Andreas asked her to create a bubble boundary. But she still doesn't think she'll be able to connect enough with her client. He suggests a window she can open 20 times per second or 3 times per hour. And the woman closes her eye and explains that could work. She constructs it in her mind. She explains she's created a control dial for her force field that she can turn up and down, have it disappear to use her intuition, guidance, and maybe turn it back up for common sense. But in fact, she discusses what a relief it was for her to be able to interact with her client using her imaginary force field of energy, or whatever it was that she had constructed. And with trauma, I think it's much more than a construct of the imagination. I think there's something else going on. But it helps to break down the past and the future as a construct of the mind. Because the brain doesn't know any different. Imagine someone quickly scratching a chalkboard now. See, the brain doesn't know any different. Because you and I both know no one scratched a chalkboard just then. It literally didn't happen. And sometimes when people have big emotional problems, with depression or anxiety, they just don't realize how analytical they are, ruminating with their emotions over and over. Almost like a pilot flying a plane, round and round and round, until it runs out of petrol. And there are the big T's of trauma, which I hope you don't have, and the little T's of trauma, which I also hope you don't have. And there are the traumatic experiences of trying not to eat chocolate or candy, which I always think, just eat the chocolate and candy. But there is a process to setting boundaries. And I wonder if you've ever discovered why you're here, your purpose in life, and what would happen if things were going your way, and what would happen if things were doing better than expected. Have you ever seen a fabulous marketing campaign on TV? But it's also on the radio. There's an app and print brochures in the mail. And those marketing campaigns don't just happen to see if they might get a few extra customers. They anticipate it doing better than expected. And I want you to imagine now your head, shoulders and breath. And I'm not sure you're aware the respiratory system can hold emotional molecules of trauma, but also of tolerance, relief, acceptance, and cooperation. And I want you to think about something you like doing, like riding a bike, surfing, yoga, studying. And in what order do your shoulders, breathing and head relax? Do your shoulders relax? You breathe easy, and then a smile on your head face. And once you've worked that out, we're going to neutralize your path, traveling safely through your timeline. But to do this, you need to wear protective clothing. So put that on. And you'll need a force field, laser beams, normal Jedi gear. So go and get all of those things. And I want you to imagine a timeline in front of you. It is the future as far as you can see. a straight line on the ground. And behind you, the path, a line on the ground if you were to turn around as far as you could see. And we're going to drop through you, beneath you, to find out what's underneath it and neutralize it. I want you to fly up to the upper atmosphere now, in your protective gear, and see your timeline on the ground, and gently float down to the start of your timeline. I want you to drop through you at 2 years old. Drop beneath it. What's there? I hope joy and laughter. Make sure your head, shoulders, and breath are all perfect and neutralized. And fly back up to the upper atmosphere. And you can laugh, you don't need to pay Blue Origin to experience this. Locate on the timeline where you were 7 years old. Ready, dropping through when you were 7 years old. Drop beneath it. Check the shoulders, breath, head, and neutralize. And fly back up to outer space. Ready, find and locate you at 15 years old on your timeline. Drop through you as 15. Go beneath it. Check the head, shoulders, breath. That they're feeling the love of life. Make sure it's neutralized and fly back up to the upper atmosphere. Great. And maybe NASA really is jealous of your new capability. And now find you on your timeline at 21 years old. Ready? Drop through and find out what's underneath. Check your head, chest, breath, and fly back up to the upper atmosphere. And you can laugh that Elon Musk hasn't quite had this experience. And I want you now to find on your timeline where you were yesterday. Drop through where you were yesterday. Go beneath you. Check your head, shoulders, breath, and neutralize. And fly back up to the upper atmosphere. And I want you to send your space angels to sweep your timeline, because you can have those in hypnosis fantasy. Ask them to sweep your timeline so it's nice and tidy, just right. Sweeping until future generations of your timeline. And your space angels can pull out any weave or check underneath the timeline is nice and clean. Whatever you choose. And once you're satisfied, you can gently float down and drop beneath you now. Check your chest, breath, and head are perfect. and neutralize. And I wonder in the future if you'll become more aware of how neutralized you are, easier on the shoulders, breath and head. This new awareness of the right order of the sensation, the right sensation, the sense of self, self-care. And I wonder if you'll find yourself becoming more empathetic to your posture, to other people's postures, as a time traveler. And when you're ready, we'll prepare for sleep. You can put on your imaginary pajamas and fly up to the upper atmosphere. Find where you're about to have a nice sleep tonight and ensure it's all perfect. And you can ask your space angels to help you prepare. And when you're ready to drop back through you, having a great sleep, and when you're ready, drop back through you now, having a great sleep. Check it's perfectly neutralized. Your breath, shoulders, head. And when you know it's just right, you can embrace your body in a loving way to sink into sleep together. Perfect. Breathing perfectly relaxed. Shoulders perfectly relaxed. And you can begin to drift off into a deep, deep sleep. You're perfect, just as you are.